The great council chamber of the Galactic Senate fell silent. Every representative from every corner of the known universe held their breath. Outside the massive station windows, the stars themselves seemed to dim under the weight of what was about to happen. Admiral Han of the Empire stood at the center platform. His scaled body was covered in ceremonial armor. His four yellow eyes burned with ancient hatred. Across from him stood High Commander of the Collective. Her silver skin reflected the chamber lights like a mirror. Her tall, thin frame was rigid with fury. Between these two powers, a war had been brewing for 300 years. Today, that war would finally begin. The dispute was old, older than most species in the room could remember. The claimed the system as their birthright, the said the same. Both had historical documents. Both had religious texts. Both had been killing each other over 5 empty planets for generations. Now, after a warship destroyed a colony vessel carrying 10,000 civilians, there was no more room for talk. "We demand justice," Commander said. Her voice echoed through the chamber. "The blood of our children stains hands. We will have our answer in fire." Admiral Han laughed. It was a cold, terrible sound. "Your vessel crossed into our territory. We gave warning. You ignored it. The fault lies with arrogance." The other species in the chamber shifted nervously. The Empire controlled 60 star systems. Their fleet numbered in the hundreds of thousands. The Collective was smaller, but their technology was more advanced. A war between them would drag in allies from both sides. Half the galaxy would burn. Senator of the Hegemony whispered to his aide, "If war begins today, our projections show 40 billion casualties in the first year alone." His aide nodded grimly, "And that is a conservative estimate." At the back of the chamber, almost forgotten, sat the delegation from Earth. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago. They were considered young, inexperienced, primitive even. Their small empire consisted of just 12 colonies. Their fleet was barely worth mentioning. Most species tolerated humans the way one might tolerate a curious child at an adult gathering. Ambassador Cross watched the confrontation unfold. She was 52 years old with gray streaking through her dark hair. Her face showed the lines of a woman who had seen much and slept little. Before becoming Earth's voice among the stars, she had been a negotiator during the water wars back home. She had talked warlords out of genocide. She had convinced dying nations to share resources instead of fighting over them. But this was different. This was not humanity's fight. This was not her place. And yet, as she watched Admiral Han and Commander prepare to condemn billions to death, something stirred in her chest. It was the same feeling she had felt on Earth years ago. The feeling that told her to stand when others sat, to speak when others stayed silent. "Ambassador," her aide said quietly, "perhaps we should leave. When the war declaration comes, it would be best if we were not present." Did not answer. Her eyes were fixed on the two leaders. She noticed something the others might have missed. Beneath the armor and the fury, beneath the grand speeches and the threats, both of them looked tired. Their hatred was real, but so was their exhaustion. 300 years of conflict had drained both species. Neither truly wanted this war, but neither knew how to stop it. "I have a question," said suddenly. Her voice was not loud, but somehow it carried across the entire chamber. Every eye turned to her, some with curiosity, some with annoyance, most with dismissal. "The human speaks," Admiral Han said. His tone was mocking. "What wisdom does the child species offer?" Stood slowly. She straightened her simple black uniform. She had no ceremonial armor, no impressive technology, just herself. "I asked a question," she repeated. "May I approach the center?" A murmur went through the crowd. No minor species had ever interrupted a major power dispute. The protocol was clear. Earth had no standing here. High Commander tilted her head. Her silver face showed something like amusement. "Let the humans speak. We can use entertainment before the darkness comes." Walked down the long aisle toward the center platform. She felt the weight of 1,000 alien gazes upon her, some her, Some laughed at her. None took her seriously. She reached the center and stood between the two leaders. The admiral towered over her. The commander could have snapped her neck with one hand, looked small, fragile, completely out of place. "My question is simple," she said. "What do you actually want?" Silence. Admiral Hand's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, human?" "The system," said, "5 planets. 3 are gas giants with no habitable moons. 1 is a frozen rock. 1 is volcanic and toxic. None of them have resources worth mentioning. Your war has already cost more than those planets could ever provide. So what do you actually want?" Commander stepped forward. "You dare question our sacred claims. The system belongs to by right of first discovery." "That is a lie," the admiral growled. "Explorers mapped those worlds before your species learned to build ships." "I did not ask about history," said calmly. "I asked what you want, right now, today. What would make this stop?" The two leaders looked at each other. It was a strange moment. For 3 centuries, they had traded insults, threats, and violence. No one had ever simply asked them what they wanted. "We want recognition," Admiral Hand said slowly. "Our ancestors bled for those worlds. We want the galaxy to acknowledge strength." Commander's silver eyes flickered. "We want safety. Every time ships enter that region, we fear for our colonies. We want to know our people can live without terror." Nodded. "So you want respect, and you want security. Neither of those things requires ownership of 5 useless planets." "You oversimplify," the admiral said, but his voice had lost some of its edge. "Perhaps," agreed, "but I have spent my life among people who were about to kill each other. I learned something important. Most conflicts are not about what people say they are about. They are about deeper needs: fear, pride, the desire to be seen. You have been fighting over symbols, not substance." The chamber was absolutely still. No one had ever spoken to these powers this way. It was audacious. It was foolish. And somehow it was working. "Let me propose something," continued. "The system becomes a joint protectorate. Both flags fly over it. Both species share patrol duties. The system becomes a symbol of cooperation instead of conflict. You each gain what you truly want. They get recognition of their historical claim. They get security through partnership. The colony vessel incident gets investigated by a neutral party." "And if we refuse?" Commander asked. "Then you go to war," said simply. "Billions die, economies collapse. Both your empires weaken while other powers grow stronger. In 100 years, neither of you will exist as you do now. The system will belong to whoever picks through your ashes." Admiral Han was quiet for a long moment. His 4 eyes studied the human before him. She was small, weak. Her species was insignificant. And yet, standing there without fear, speaking truths no one else dared to speak, she seemed larger than anyone in the room. "Why do you care?" he asked. "This is not your war. Earth has nothing to gain or lose." Smiled sadly. "I care because I have seen what war does. My people nearly destroyed ourselves before we reached the stars. We fought over water, over land, over ideas. Millions died for things that did not matter. I survived that. I carry those memories. If I can prevent even one death today, I will. That is the human way." Commander looked at the admiral. The admiral looked at the commander. Something passed between them, not friendship, not trust, but perhaps the beginning of understanding. "The human proposal has merit," said slowly. "It requires further discussion," Han admitted. "But discussion, perhaps, is preferable to destruction." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Species that had expected to witness a war declaration were now witnessing something else entirely. The impossible was happening. The 2 greatest enemies in the galaxy were stepping back from the edge. Over the following hours, Cross facilitated negotiations that should have taken years. She asked questions no one else thought to ask. She pointed out common interests that had been buried under centuries of hatred. She was patient when the talk stalled. She was firm when either side threatened to walk away. She was, in every way, exactly what that moment required. By the time the artificial sun rose over the station's observation windows, a preliminary agreement had been reached. It was not peace. Not yet, but it was a ceasefire. It was a framework. It was hope. As the delegations filed out of the chamber, Admiral Han approached. His massive form cast a shadow over her. "Human," he said, "I have commanded fleets. I have conquered worlds, but I have never seen courage like yours today. You stood between empires with nothing but words. Why?" Looked up at him. "Because someone had to, and because I believed you were both better than this." The admiral was silent. Then slowly, he inclined his great head in a gesture of respect. It was a movement no had ever made to a human. Commander approached as well. Her silver features softened slightly. "You have given us a gift today, Ambassador Cross. Whether we deserve it remains to be seen, but we will try to honor it." Nodded, "That is all anyone can ask." As she walked back to the Earth delegation seats, her aide rushed to meet her. His face was pale with shock and wonder. "Ambassador, that was incredible. How did you know what to say?" Sat down heavily. The exhaustion was catching up with her now. She was just a human after all, flesh and blood, nothing special. "I did not know," she admitted. "I just refused to accept that war was inevitable. Humans are stubborn that way. We look at impossible situations and think there must be another option. Sometimes we are wrong, but sometimes that stubbornness saves lives." Word of what happened spread across the galaxy within days. A single human had stopped a war that had seemed certain. The great powers began to look at Earth differently, not as a child species, not as a curiosity, but as something unexpected, something valuable. The Accords, as they came to be known, held for 50 years and eventually became a permanent peace. Ambassador Cross became a legend. Schools taught her story. Monuments bore her name. But herself cared nothing for fame. She retired to a small house on a quiet Earth colony. When people asked her about that day, she would smile and shake her head. "I did not stop a war," she would say. "I just reminded two tired people that they had a choice. That is what humans do. We believe in choices even when no one else does. That is our gift to the universe." And perhaps in the end that was humanity's greatest strength. Not their ships, not their weapons, but their stubborn, impossible belief that there was always another way. That even on the brink of darkness, a single voice could change everything. The galaxy had learned something important that day. Humans were small, humans were young, humans were fragile. But humans never, ever gave up. And sometimes that made all the difference.